in professional competition. The largest crowd in Toronto's history for any event in any year. That's what civic officials and police experts termed it. And this noon-hour crowd at the Toronto City Hall was only an indication of the millions more who saw the games in person or on television in either Toronto or Chicago. But let's start back on April the 11th, 1962. It's been a long time since a Stanley Cup pennant has been hung from the rafters of Maple Leaf Gardens, and tickets are scarce for this first game of the series. The defending champion Chicago Blackhawks, led by superstar Bobby Hull, won their semifinal series against Montreal 4-2. They have men like Reg Fleming, Red Hay, and Eric Nestorenko, Dollard Saint Laurent, Bronco Horvath, the former Boston Bruin, and the slim, dynamic Stan Mikita, looking for a new Stanley Cup point record. Toronto, having finished second in the regular season, has the advantage of home ice following their 4-2 semifinal victory over the New York Rangers. The Leafs have been building to this night for a long time with stars from their own farm system. Bobby Nevin, Frank Mahovlich, who last year scored more goals than any other Leaf player in history, and Bob Pulford. The key man in the Toronto setup is their coach and general manager, Pанч Имлач. And now, with game number 1 of the 1962 Stanley Cup Series all set to go, here's Bill Hewitt.
Hello, Canada. Here we are at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto for the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Pulford out there at center ice, and from the face-off, the puck goes back to the Chicago blue line. The Blackhawks are wearing the white sweaters, the Toronto Maple Leafs the blue. And in this first period, the Blackhawks move on the attack very quickly. First game of the series, it goes into the corner of the Maple Leaf zone. Hay tried to center it out in front. It goes to the boards on the far side. Comes back to the blue line, a shot. Goes near the Leaf goal. Bauer stopped it. And Horton goes to the penalty box for the first penalty of the series and gives the Blackhawks the odd man advantage. They take advantage of it very quickly. Here's back to Mikita. Mikita over to Bobby Hull. He shoots, he scores! Hull finds the target, and Chicago leads 1-0 in this first period. Bobby Hull scoring the first goal of the series to give Chicago a 1-0 lead. Puck is back in the Maple Leaf zone, and with the Leafs trailing in the first period, 1-0. Keon, Stanley, and Armstrong go to center ice. Stanley over the line, a drop pass for Keon, number 14. Keon gets it again, gets another shot. This time it's stopped by Hall. Here it's back to Keon again, another slap shot, and that's stopped by Hall. Keon putting on an extra drive for the Maple Leafs. It's the Leafs keeping the puck in the Chicago zone. It's back to Breuer. Breuer clears into the corner. It's Armstrong throwing it out in front. Keon's knocked down. The puck goes loose and goes back to center ice. The first period ends 1-0 for the Blackhawks. In the second period now, it's the Leafs carrying the play. There's Keon getting a scores, and a pass from Duff as he hopped right in front of the goal crease. Glenn Hall had no chance on the play, and the Leafs have tied it. 1-1, Dave Keon on a quick break from Dick Duff. That gives the Maple Leaf fans their first chance to cheer in the series, opening here at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. There's Frank Mahovlich just coming off the ice after scoring to give the Leafs a 2-1 lead. Frank Mahovlich scoring, and the Leafs lead now 2-1 in the second period. As the Blackhawks are changing players on the go. Puck goes at center ice, cleared back into the Leaf zone. Kelly watches his check. Chicago keep the puck in the Leaf zone, trying to get that equalizer. It goes behind the net, and now we're moving into the third period with the Leafs leading 2-1 and trying to hang on. West Chicago trying to get back on even terms. There goes Bobby Nevin up over the Chicago line, takes a shot, and Hall grabbed it and left it behind the goal. Stan Mikita. A pass right in front of his own net, and Bobby Hull got back very quickly to cover up. Back goes Hull to center ice. Up over the Maple Leaf line, around the defense. Cutting right in on goalie, shoot. Oh, and Bauer made a sensational save, covering up on the shot. And the puck goes loose into the corner. It's down the right side for the Maple Leafs. Mahavlich has got it. Up over the blue line. He fakes a shot. His shot was weak. It goes off to the side. He's knocked down. Mikita tried to break away on the right wing. The puck goes to center ice, and then Fleming picks up a penalty, goes to the penalty box, and the Leafs take a man advantage. Duff, a shot in front of the goal, stopped by Vasco. The Leafs take their turn. It's Duff, a pass on the right wing. Here's Armstrong. He scores! Armstrong picks the short side, and the Leafs go ahead 3-1. An insurance marker for the captain of the Maple Leafs, George Armstrong. 3-1 for Toronto in this first game in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now the Leafs again carrying the Chicago territory in this third period. The puck is loose. It's right in front. They score. Horton let go. A quick slap shot from the blue line. It caught everybody in front of the goal napping, and it went right into the net. And the Leafs win it 4-1 as Johnny Bauer comes out of his net to greet his teammates. The Leafs win the first game of the series 4-1.
Back in the press room of the Garden, some of the all-time greats of hockey chat about the action. Conn Smythe, chairman of the board of the Leafs. Buzz Patrick of New York and Jack Adams of Detroit. Milt Dunnell, sports editor of the Toronto Star, chats with Gay Stewart. And it may well be that he and Kenny Reardon of the Montreal front office are reminiscing about playoffs gone by. And so game number 1 goes to Toronto. 2 nights later, the Gardens is once again packed to the rafters for game number 2.
Here we are at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto for the second game of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Teams are lining up at center ice, and from the face-off that ushers in the second game, the Toronto Maple Leafs clear the puck into the Chicago zone, and the Blackhawks turn around and go on the move. No scoring in the first period as Billy Harris races down the ice for the Leafs into the Chicago zone into the corner. Reg Fleming after number 6. Gets by Harris, lost it. The Leafs keep the puck in right in front to Harris. He backhands and he scores! Billy Harris on a backhand. Flipped the puck over top of the sprawling Glenn Hall, and it's 1-0 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Billy Harris leaves the ice after scoring the first goal of this second game. Johnny Bauer watches the Blackhawks as they come into his territory. The Leafs trying to keep the Hawks from tying it up here. Puck in the Maple Leafs zone. Bauer makes a sensational save, doing the splits on a long drive. Chicago trying to tie it up as the Leafs clear the puck down the ice. A long shot by Duff was stopped by Hall. Keon got a shot. Duff right in front. And Glenn Hall covers up on the goal crease. And there's no further play. 1-0 for the Toronto Maple Leafs as we move now into the third period after a scoreless second period. The Leafs trying to desperately hang on as the Hawks have been on the move. Elmer Vasco, number 4, gets away from a check. Up he goes to center ice. Up to the Leaf line. Flipped it through. Duff stopped it and cleared it out. Here's a chance. A shot. Goal by Stan Mikita from a pileup in front of the Maple Leaf goal to tie it 1-1. A 1-1 tie in this third period. The Blackhawks coming from behind to tie it. And it's now a 1-1 tie. Maple Leafs and the Blackhawks making changes in players with the score tied 1-1 in this second game of the Stanley Cup Finals at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Face-off in the Maple Leaf zone. Bond took Horvath out. A flip pass goes into the corner. It goes behind the Maple Leaf goal, and Carl Breuer stops it there. Breuer trying to get the Leaf attack organized. The pass is in front of Mahavlich. Mahavlich took a quick pass from Stewart. And it's 2-1 now for the Maple Leafs. Frank Mahavlich bringing the Maple Leaf Garden fans to their feet. And the Maple Leafs go ahead 2-1. Kelly out to congratulate Mahavlich. All set. Puck is brought back into the Maple Leaf zone. Bauer comes sprawling out and stopped Kenny Warham, who went diving over top of the Leaf goalkeeper wide of the net. Puck is still in the Leaf zone. The Blackhawks trying to get back into the game again, trailing by a score of 2-1. Here the Leafs back again into Chicago territory. A shot right in front of the net, and it was cleared off to the side by Stan Mikita. Armstrong keeps the puck in the Chicago zone. Duff and Keon trying to combine. Keon backhands. There's a shot by Armstrong. He scores! George Armstrong taking Keon's pass and backhanding the puck past Glenn Hall, who had no chance on the play. Toronto Maple Leafs 3, Chicago Blackhawks 1, and there's Makita getting one for Chicago, and it's 3-2 as the Blackhawks bounce back and are right back in the game. The Chicago Blackhawks have taken Glenn Hall out of the net in an effort to get the equalizer. Now they're trailing by a score of 3-2. Here's Kelly taking a shot to stock down by Vasco in front of the net. The Leafs trying to forecheck the Blackhawks and are successful. Stewart stopping Bobby Hull. Now Vasco tries it again. A long pass out to the blue line. Blackhawks just can't get going as Mahavlich breaks it up. Clears the puck into the Chicago zone. Vasco goes behind the net. He's hit by Mahavlich. There goes the bell. The game is over.
And if you were watching the game on television, you'll remember Foster Hewitt recapping the highlights. Now the scene shifts to Chicago, the bustling city of 5 million, where it seems everybody has become a solid fan of the Blackhawks. If any of them are worried about that 2-game deficit, they're not showing it. After all, they had a similar situation against Montreal in the semifinals and came back to win that one 4 straight. And with that thought in mind, the Chicago fans have filled the stadium for game number 3. And now, here with the play-by-play is Bill Hewitt.
Here we are at the Chicago Stadium for the 3rd game of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Chicago Blackhawks in red and the Toronto Maple Leafs in white. The puck is at center ice now as the Maple Leafs go on the attack right from the beginning. Move the puck into Chicago territory. There's a loose puck, a chance for Kelly. And his clearing pass went to Palat in the corner, who was rammed by Pulford. Puck is in the Chicago zone. The Blackhawks with Pierre Palat. A quick pass out to Bobby Hull. Up the ice he goes. Here's the slap shot, and Bauer grabs that one right off the post. It was labeled for the left side of the net. No scoring in the first period of this 3rd game. The Chicago Blackhawks looking for their first victory of the playoff. All set for the faceoff. The two teams have been really hitting one another in this 3rd game. And Keon breaks the center ice, number 14, over to Armstrong for the Leafs. Into Chicago territory. Saint Laurent knocked Armstrong off stride. The puck is still in the Blackhawks zone, and back there for it is Bobby Hull. Bobby Hull, a clearing pass that failed to get out of his own zone, and Bond was hit. Hay goes back to try it for Chicago. A clearing pass off the boards again. Murray Balfour wearing the helmet couldn't get out. Keon stopped him. Duff goes after the puck as the Leafs put the pressure on the Blackhawks in the early stages of this first period. There's Glenn Hall going to the side of his goal to cover up. Puck is still in the Chicago zone. Out in front of their own net, a pass, and it just failed to reach the Leaf players at the blue line. Out goes Makita with Ab McDonald. He stops. Passed it back to Ab McDonald, takes his shot, and it deflects into the corner. And it's a scoreless tie after 1 period. Stan Makita, number 21, has given Chicago in the early minutes of the 2nd period a 1-0 lead. Chicago opening the scoring in the 2nd period, 1-0, as they start to bump. Here's Ab McDonald. He shoots, he scores on a quick play in front of the Maple Leaf goal, fooling Bauer completely as he spun around, getting in front and firing the puck into the open net. Chicago 2, Toronto Maple Leafs no score in the 2nd period. And the Chicago fans are going wild in the stadium as their beloved Blackhawks take a 2-0 lead. Coach Rudy Pillis is changing his players as the 3rd period is underway now, and the score is still 2-0 Chicago. The Leafs go on the attack, trying to get on the scoring column. Beaufort and Shack bump into Warren, number 17 of Chicago, as the Blackhawks tear back into Leaf territory. The Coach Punch Imlach has taken the goalkeeper out. Bauer has gone to the bench. Kelly's trying to cover up. Here's the Blackhawks taking a shot wide of the open net. Here's another shot. They score. Horvath on the rebound. And that's the final score. Bronco Horvath scoring the 3rd and final goal. Chicago wins their first game of the Stanley Cup Finals 3-0.
Following the game, Doug Harvey, playing coach of the New York Rangers, picked the 3 stars for Ward Cornell and the TV audience. By now, the series had settled into a home-and-home affair. Leafs' opening victories were in Toronto. Chicago is won at home, and 2 nights later, the Chicago fans are cheering for a second home victory.
In this first period of the 4th game, there's no score between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Blackhawks in red, the Leafs in white. As the play starts to open up here in this first period, and from the face-off again at center ice, it's Pierre Palat, number 3, passing it back to Elmer Vasco, number 4 in the left wing. He flips the puck into the Maple Leaf zone. The two teams have been really bumping right from the start, and there's Murray Balfour ramming into Bond. They start to scuffle a little bit along the boards. All the players are watching. The gloves go and the sticks are down as they start to mix it up. But it didn't take long for the referee and the two linesmen to move in very quickly and get them apart. And nothing really developed. The players are mingling around now, trying to find their gloves and sticks. And Murray Balfour and Bobby Bond have gone to the penalty box. So the teams will play 5-a-side. And a scoreless tie going between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Maple Leafs with the puck in the Maple Leaf zone. Chicago keep that puck in. They have a pattern play going here. A pass over, a shot by Hay. Another shot goes wide of Bauer. It goes to the Bobby Hull. A drop pass to Vasco. Over here in the right wing to Makita at the blue line. He moves in with a slot shot but deflects wide. Vasco again over to Makita. Makita fakes the shot. It hit a leg. Breuer goes after it. He's bumped. Hay tries to take him out of the play. Broke his stick. Hull gets it back. Here comes a drive by Vasco. Bauer made the save. And it looks like he may be hurt on that shot as he went down twice. He's getting up very slowly as he covers up the puck. Panch Imlach watches the action. Bauer laboring a little near the net. Chicago Blackhawks still putting on the pressure. There's no score in this first period. Here's another shot, and Bauer falls off stride. Bobby Hull takes a clearing pass in front of the net. He shoots, scores! Bobby Hull took the clearing pass in front of the net to open the scoring in the first period. Chicago won. Toronto Maple Leafs, no score, as Bobby Hull is mobbed by his teammates in this first period. Now then, Don Simmons has been ordered out on the ice by Coach Panch Imlach to replace Bauer, who apparently was injured on that play, that long shot they did the splits on. And Don Simmons, who played in the American Hockey League for Rochester and who is up with the Maple Leafs for just such an occasion, is now in goal after a few practice shots. The Leafs move on the attack. It's Breuer taking a shot wide of the Chicago goal. Mahavlich takes a shot in front of the net. And the Blackhawks return again. Bronco Horvath going to center. He tried to go over the line. Bond and Breuer combine to take him out of the play. They start to bump one another. 1-0 the score. Here's a play around the Maple Leaf net. Fleming gets a shot. Another try, score! It's Fleming of the Blackhawks makes it 2-0 in the first period. And he's quite jubilant about it and moves back to center ice where he's greeted by Eric Nestorenko. Bronco Horvath has a word with him as the Blackhawks take a 2-0 lead in the first period. Duff goes back with Armstrong. A pass to Kelly. A shot. He scores! Kelly picked the top right-hand corner on a partial deflection, and that puts the Maple Leafs right back in the game. The score at the end of the first period, Chicago Blackhawks 2, Toronto Maple Leafs 1.
The Leafs fight back gamely, but the home ice advantage holds for Chicago, and they go on to win 4-1, tying the series at 2 games apiece. After the game, Ed Fitkin gleaned some comments from the famous Bentley brothers of Delisle, Saskatchewan. Doug Bentley, naturally, favored the Hawks, while Max Bentley, on the left, showed a slight tendency toward Toronto, having finished his National Hockey League days with the Leafs. Game number 4 is over, and now the question is, can the Leafs recover? Well, if the Chicago fans can help to cheer their heroes to victory, then the Leaf supporters feel that they can do the same, and so they've come early and in numbers. Even before the game began, the crowd was chanting, "Go, Leafs, go," and the cheering could be heard in the dressing room. But cheers are not enough. It's goals that decide the outcome, and Leafs like Karl, Breuer, and Red Kelly will have to supply the answer on the ice, along with Don Simmons, who must play all the remaining games for the Leafs. The Stanley Cup Series always attracts the top hockey personalities of the land. Clarence Campbell, president of the National Hockey League. The general manager and president of the Chicago Blackhawks, Tommy Ivan and James D. Norris. Sтэfford Smaight, president of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Maple Leaf Gardens directors John Bassett and W.O. Twaits. Another interested visitor, Senator Hartland Molson, president of the Montreal Canadiens.
All set for the face-off. In this, the 5th game of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Chicago in white, the Maple Leafs in blue. Pulford from the face-off, a pass to Breuer, number 2. The Leafs clear the puck into the Chicago zone, over the line. It's a pass over into the side, a pass out in front. Pulford lets the shot go, it rolls in front, he scores! Pulford on a backhand as it rolls through the crease in between Hull's legs and into the net. And it's 1-0 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Bobby Pulford scoring after just 17 seconds on Glenn Hall, and the Leafs take the lead. Now the puck is back in the Maple Leaf zone as Makita let a drive go, and the Blackhawks put on the pressure, trailing 1-0. Back at the blue line, Makita, a backhand. A pass to Ab McDonald, a shot. Simmons stopped it. He stopped it again. He's pushed in the net. It's still loose. Ab McDonald, and finally Simmons dives out to cover up. A close play around the Maple Leaf goal as the Blackhawks look for the equalizer. Here's Pulford shooting. He scores! Pulford went right down the ice and caught the top left-hand corner with a rising wrist shot. And that makes it 2-0 at Maple Leaf Gardens as the fans go wild. Toronto Maple Leafs 2, Chicago Blackhawks no score. Set for the face-off again. Pulford, Olmstead, and Stewart. Hull, Hay, and Murray Balfour in front of the face-off. Up over the line into Leaf territory. Murray Balfour shoots and scores! He got a quick pass in front of the Maple Leaf net and had Simmons beaten all the way into the bottom left-hand corner. First period ends with the score 2-1 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. From the start of the second period, Ab McDonald is coming in. He takes a shot. He scores! Ab McDonald ties it up. 2-2 in the early minutes of the second period. And it's a 2-2 tie. Ab McDonald goes on to score another one to make it 3-2, and the Blackhawks are out in front. 3-2 the score now for Chicago and Ab McDonald's second goal. And from the face-off, Harris is out there with Mahavlich as Horton gives him a pass in front. Harris scores on a tip-in from outside the goal crease. A deflection by Billy Harris on a shot by TimHorton. And it's tied up again, 3-3. Chicago Blackhawks 3, Toronto Maple Leafs 3. A seesaw battle as the Maple Leafs carry back into Chicago territory again. Here's Horton taking a shot. It's in front. Ball stopped it twice. Keon shoots. He scores on a backhand. After Glenn Hall had made two sensational saves on the third try, Keon lifted the puck over him, and the Maple Leafs go ahead 4-3. Toronto Maple Leafs 4, Chicago Blackhawks 3 in the second period of the fifth game. Here's a chance for Palat, and Simmons made a brilliant save on the Chicago defenseman. Kelly trying to get away, couldn't get the puck out of his own zone. Then Mahavlich tipped it off his knee. Down the ice he goes, one man back. He's trying to get around him, and he's taken off by Vasco into the corner, gets it out in front. It goes over to the side. It's right in front again. Mahavlich gets a try, scores! Mahavlich finally got his second try and made no mistake into the open net. In the third period, Mahavlich made it 6-3. Armstrong 7-3. Turner got one back for the Chicago Blackhawks to make it 7-4. Pulford scored his third goal of the night. And the final score, Toronto Maple Leafs 8, Chicago Blackhawks 4.
We're going back to Chicago now for the sixth game of the series. The Hawks have met the Leafs in Stanley Cup playoff action on 4 other occasions, and the record stands at 2 victories each. This 1962 battle is just as close. If Chicago is to retain its hold on the Stanley Cup, then the Blackhawks must win this 6th game. As the teams warm up, the boisterous Chicago fans look to Stan Mikita for leadership. Well, they might, too, for in this 62 playoff series, Mikita has already established a record of 21 points and toppled the former mark of 20 set by Gordie Howe back in 1955.
All set for the face-off at the Chicago Stadium. The Chicago Blackhawks in red, the Toronto Maple Leafs in white, who clear the puck into the Chicago zone. Elmer Vasco picks up the loose puck behind the Chicago net and heads out towards the Maple Leaf line. Up the center ice comes Vasco over the blue line. In the Maple Leaf territory, Simmons cleared the puck off to the side. Chicago keep it in, pressing in the early moments. A long shot by Palat went wide of the net. Mikita gets it back to the blue line. Chicago trying to keep it in. Maple Leafs try to move out. Horton takes a long shot as he crossed the blue line, and Glenn Hall stopped it. Fleming couldn't get it out. A shot by Nevin was grabbed by Glenn Hall, and he went outside the goal crease with it and held onto it for a face-off. No score in the first period. The Maple Leafs playing every man up. Pulford failed to get the draw. Then Glenn Hall covers up as the Leafs get a shot from the side. It goes behind the net, and Chicago Blackhawks now start to come out. Number 21, Stan Mikita to center, up over the blue line, having difficulty. Has it caught on his skate, then lost it, and back goes Pulford. Number 20, a shot. And Glenn Hall did the splits on that drive. Donald Saint-Laurent wraps the puck off the boards, out to center ice. Leafs fail to gain control, and back comes Ab McDonald to Makita again. A shot, and that was stopped by Simmons. The teams are going from end to end right at the start of this very crucial hockey game, the 6th game of the series. Simmons stopping one. Simmons watches now, moves out of his net. Puck is all around the Leaf goal. Simmons watching his checks in front of the net, and the Maple Leafs now try to bring that puck out themselves. First period is over, and there's no score between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Toronto Maple Leafs as Rich Fleming gets the gate to start this second period. Kelly clears the puck into the Chicago zone. Vasco is knocked into the boards. Harris keeps the puck in the Chicago zone. Kelly back to Harris. Harris back to Stanley. His shot was stopped by Glenn Hall. Back to Stanley again, a backhand. That was stopped by the Chicago defense. The rebound. Mahavlich trying to center it. Flipped it out in front of the net. Kelly a backhand. It goes right to Stanley, a shot, and it hit a skate and deflects off to the wing. Glenn Hall trying to get his teammates out in front of him. There's Harris trying to get a shot all around the Chicago goal. It goes into the corner. Glenn Hall bats at it. It's still behind the Chicago goal into the corner. Here's a shot. Glenn Hall let it go wide. Armstrong fakes a pass, passed it across the goal mouth. A shot. Evans deflects into the corner. It comes out in front again off Duff into the corner the opposite side. Fleming a pass to Nesterenko. Nesterenko and Hull. Hull winds up a slap shot, and Simmons let it go wide. It deflects back to the blue line, and Duff races down the left wing. Nesterenko took him out of the play. There's a shot that Glenn Hall stopped as it went flying by. Then Simmons makes a save as the two teams again go from end to end, opening up in this very crucial game. And both goalkeepers have been sensational. Bobby Bond picks up a penalty. Chicago had the odd man, playing 6 men to 5. A shot. Makita gets the rebound to Hay in the corner. Hay and Makita trying to get it back to blue line. They do. Palat lets his shot go. It's Makita trying to get a shot. Simmons watches. There's another shot by McDonald, and it deflects over the screen into the crowd. And it's still a scoreless tie after 2 periods.
Too excited to watch the game in person, the injured Johnny Bauer joins the millions of other fans watching on television.
We're in the 3rd period, still a scoreless tie. Simmons coming up with a save. Neither team has been able to score. A scoreless tie as Mahavlich races down the left wing over the blue line in Chicago territory. Cutting in front, gets the set, takes his shot. That was knocked down by Palat. He didn't see it. But it's called by referee Frank Adveri, and there's no further play, and a face-off in the Chicago zone. The tension is mounting here at the Chicago Stadium in this 6th game of the Stanley Cup Finals. The Leafs lead 3 games to 2, and there's no score in this 6th game as Duff loses possession. Hull shoots, he scores! Bobby Hull stole the puck from in front of the Leaf goal and fired into the short side. And Bedlam breaks loose in the Chicago Stadium as the Blackhawks go ahead 1-0. Chicago 1. Toronto Maple Leafs, no score in the 3rd period. Goal was scored by Bobby Hull as he caught the short side. Chicago carry right back into the Maple Leaf zone again is broken up by Horton. Horton with Olmstead on his right. Beaufort on the left, over to Olmstead. He takes his shot. That's stopped by Glenn Hall right in the goal crease. And he holds the puck there for a face-off. Another try all around the Chicago goal. It goes to Mahavlich. Over to Nevin. He shoots and scores! Bobby Nevin, number 11, has tied it up for the Maple Leafs. On a pass from Frank Mahavlich. And the Maple Leafs tie it 1-1. Bobby Nevin, number 11, leaving the ice after scoring the tying goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this 3rd period. All set for the face-off in the Chicago zone. It goes to Mahavlich. He takes the backhand. Glenn Hall stops that. They all poke at it. But it's covered up by Glenn Hall right in his own goal crease. Harris was standing there. It's still in Chicago territory. Nevin comes from the side, hits the side of the net with a hard shot. And Elmer Vasco clears it along the boards. Chicago trying to get out of their own zone. Toronto Maple Leafs come right back again. Over the line, Armstrong to Horton. Over to Duff. He turns, he scores! Picked up! Found the range from right in front of the net. He just turned around and fired it. And he beat Glenn Hall cleanly on the shot from close range. And that gives the Maple Leafs a 2-1 lead in this 3rd period. The Chicago Blackhawks have taken their goalkeeper out using 6 attackers, and they're back in their own zone. Leafs trying to hang on, leading 2-1 as Stan Mikita failed to get away. Following up was Murray Balfour. Cleared the puck in. The puck goes to the wing. The shot. Simmons stops it. It deflects into the corner. Chicago all around the Leafs territory now. Mikita clearing it with Rich Fleming and Ab McDonald out in front. Bobby Hull races after. He's watched. Nevin, number 11, tries to flip the puck over the blue line but can't. Mikita keeps it in. Hull to Hay out in front of the net. Breuer overskates the puck, knocks it to the side. Hay flips it out in front. Simmonds stops it. The game is over. And the Leaf players come pouring over the boards to congratulate one another. Now here's Doug Maxwell.
For the first time in 11 years, a Toronto team has won the Stanley Cup, and as you might expect, the first congratulations come from the Chicago Blackhawks. Worthy finalists, tough defenders. The team that had been nudged and nurtured by Pánch Imlach had achieved its goal. A new Stanley Cup pennant was now assured for Maple Leaf Gardens. The 1962 series was in the tradition of great Stanley Cup series. It had suspense and excitement, drama and variety. It was a series that fulfilled the wish of the donor of the Stanley Cup, who wrote in 1892 of his willingness to donate a trophy to be held by the champion hockey team in the Dominion. Since then, the Stanley Cup has become the most prized hockey trophy in the world, a trophy which has inspired hockey players and fans for over 65 years, and a trophy which in 1962 was won by the Toronto Maple Leafs.